For Deep Lab's residency at New Ink, we invited 12 of the core team members to be in residence for a week. They spent the first half of that week kind of researching, having conversations, developing projects and ideas together, and the latter half of the week was presenting some of that work through an exhibition that took place during the Idea City Festival on Saturday.
It started with Adi Wagner. She found a couple of women that she found really interesting who work on that matter in their own ways.
Deep Lab is a collaborative of researchers, artists, coders, hackers, cultural curators who work at the apex of big data aggregation, security, and themes of anonymity.
Everyone has a different profession. There are researchers, there are writers, there are designers, there are artists. But this topic about censorship, surveillance, and privacy, that is the knot that got us together.
I think Deep Lab, above all, is an extraordinary group of women. We share a feminist politics. We share an interest in how do we make the world better? How do we actually challenge the kinds of norms that we see around technology and surveillance and data collection?
That's really interesting, for people who don't know each other to stay together for a week and create something. Everyone brings a different set of energies to the table.
So I was really interested in developing kind of a female crew and having like my female group that identified with me in terms of research topics, humor, and kind of finding someone other than myself to really challenge ideas and hope that I can also do the same for their ideas.
But it's really a loose collective, and I think that the lab in the name Deep Lab kind of speaks to that. We're testing out ideas and experimenting and trying to find our footing as a group.
It's been very heartening to see a group of women really take the stage on these issues and use it to produce really provocative work.
Idea City is a biannual festival that the New Museum organizes. It's looking at art and urbanism and the future of cities and the role that culture can play in helping us envision the future of cities. It brings together a lot of different voices, from policymakers to activists and local community groups. And for this year's festival, the theme was the Invisible City.
Invisible City to me is one of the probably scariest things that we really need to face, which is that in America, cities have real problems with the divide between visibility and invisibility. In my work, I look at the way in which we're seeing the emergence of new tracking infrastructures in city spaces, which effectively is making everybody visible, often when they're not aware they're being tracked.
When you say invisible city, who is it that's truly invisible here? And it's typically people of color, women of color, sometimes women in general, and children, and sort of these people that are on the margins of society.
Deep Lab, being an all-female collective, represents voices that are often invisible or missing from the discourse around privacy and surveillance.
The 3 last days of this residency are open to the public, so we have a public-facing part of the residency, which means that in the days before those 3 last days, we're basically working on the output. So far, we have had a drones painting performance. That was the opening piece.
For our day of panels and discussions and workshops, Deep Lab participants organized these sessions and moderated these sessions and invited various researchers, academics, and artists to participate in conversations around anti-utopias, surveillance anxiety, and strategic witnessing. We also invited the experimental rock musician EMA to participate in the residency, for which she created all new music and a kind of experimental performance.
For the performance, I really wanted to make just like a kind of decompression space. I used to be a substitute teacher, and I would always do art things with the kids, and so I was like, why don't I'm just gonna pass out, pens and paper and ask people to draw each other.
The last day is going to be ultra public facing.
So tomorrow Idea City has a street festival, and as part of that, Deep Lab has been creating different installations. We've got a number of great projects that are going up tomorrow, and there are also going to be different folks from other local communities participating in the street fair portion of the event.
I think both of these initiatives really showcase how the museum is thinking beyond, the four walls of the institution and a kind of more expanded definition of culture. I really think that they also showcase the way that museums will evolve in the years to come.
In terms of things that I've learned that we all need sleep, that collaboration is a beautiful but delicate experiment, and that I'm very lucky to be working with such a fantastic group of women.